Welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Chance Vanek. I'm a 45-year-old Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, husband, father, plumber turned business owner / entrepreneur. And over the past few years in middle age, life has been really trying to kick my ass into the ground, but I refuse to let that happen. And, you know, it's very hard to do things alone, so we need to find a group of people to help us get back onto our feet and keep moving forward, keep growing, and help motivate us to become healthier, wealthier, wiser, and a little bit harder to kill. And today, one of those gentlemen is sitting right here in the studio with us. He goes by the Ancient Assassin. He's 59 years old, training for his first amateur MMA fight.
That's right,
He's right there, and I'm gonna allow him to introduce himself.
Well, first I just have to say, man, when I hear 45 years old, I think you're a youngster.
Baby, I'm a baby.
That's right. So Scott Seidewitz, better known as the Ancient Assassin, around the gym for obvious reasons, being 59. You know, I just got into martial arts and combat sports 6 years ago, kind of on a whim. I'm a consultant, startup, CEO, and what the hell am I doing in the gym getting punched in the face? You can see the results of my last sparring round, where we met. It was really, people kept asking me why I worked out so much. And I'm a UFC fan, so I would just say, oh, yeah, I'm training for my first MMA fight. And people thought it was so cool, I figured I would go ahead and do it and just
Okay, so you started telling people you were training for your first UFC fight kind of as a joke.
Just jokingly. You know, we'd have dinner company, and we'd, in the conversation, we talk about how much I'm working out or whatever, and they'd always be like, why?
Yeah.
And I'd say, oh, well, I'm training for my first MMA fight, and my wife would roll her eyes, and everybody would crack up and say, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And be like, no, I was just joking. So then I thought I should give it a try.
Well, I salute you for stepping up, and I will be there front and center to watch this. But, when I still do train like crazy, but people would ask me, what are you training for? Are you going to fight?
Exactly.
And I would say, I'm training for life, man. I'm training for life. And I used to say that kind of as a joke. But now, 15 years in plus into doing this, it's truer than ever, because had I not started doing this, I don't know if I would have made it this far, man. Honest.
Well, what is the key that you think helped you make it this far from picking up combat sports and training?
The key that helped me pick up combat sports and training? Or
no, that helped you make it this far from doing that kind of training?
I realized how good it makes me feel, how therapeutic it is for me being on the mats. I fell into this. I was going to be 30 years old, and I didn't want to be an out-of-shape old man at 30.
Now you were really sounding young.
I know. So this was in 2008, and I said, man, I don't want my wife to think she's married to this 30-year-old out-of-shape loser. So I walked into LVAC, picked up some weights. I did like 3 curls, and I was like, this sucks. And at the time, BJ Penn was just tearing it up. And I was like, what is that he's doing, man, on the mat? And that's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I walked into my first gym, which at the time I think was Zions Training Center, which is now Syndicate MMA.
Oh, sure.
And this super tall dude, as soon as he saw me, his eyes lit up. He's like, how can I help you? I said, I want to learn Jiu-Jitsu. He's like, you came to the right place. He was a blue belt. His name was Todd. I haven't seen Todd in years, but he would not let me leave that gym until I swore I was coming back the next day to class. And I came back, and I've been hooked ever since. But what I was going to say is, what I really enjoy most about that is the camaraderie of being there. And once you're there, all you have to do is show up, and you're going to work, because your friends are going to try to break y'all shit if you don't work. So, it forces you to stay motivated.
I've had a similar experience, except not so much the camaraderie, because unfortunately, because of my schedule and being old, I'm doing personal training.
Yeah,
so I'm not around the gym.
I don't mean to cut you off, and I'm sorry. This is pretty damn cool. So this guy is a special guy here. He must be a baller, because he's doing privates every Sunday for the last 6 years with Ryan Couture. And just when I decided that I wanted to do this, start this community, this show, whatever it is, the Midlife Fight Club, I walked out of the bathroom after training on Sunday, and I saw Scott standing in the cage, and I said, well, Salt and Pepper here.
You were like, what's this old guy doing in there?
What are you up to? And he's like, I'm training for my first amateur MMA fight. I'm like, how
I'm like,
old
you
are
want to step in the cage, big guy, youngster? Come on.
So yeah, man, it was very cool. And then I found out he's been training with Ryan Couture for the last 6 years. And I sat there with one of my cameras and I filmed almost the majority of their training regimen in the cage. And he's no joke. He's no joke. I don't know if I'd want to.
Watch out, man.
Yeah,
I'm coming for you next, Chance, when I'm done with Ryan.
That'll be a all weight class.
Right.
No weight class.
No
right?
kidding.
But dude, so tell me about that. How did you meet Ryan?
So, before, if you don't mind me just jumping on this issue of the benefits of the training in the combat sports, because I've similar insight. I miss the camaraderie. I really wish that I had time to go to the gym more often. Occasionally, I'll take a jiu-jitsu class or a kickboxing class, and I really enjoy it, and I love being able to interact with more people. But, for me, it was the difference between the training I was doing before, which was pure fitness. And I have been committed to fitness from a health standpoint. That's why, everybody says, when someone's a vegan because they always mention it. Well, I've been vegan for 25 years, vegetarian 35 years. Anybody who thinks you need to eat meat to fight is wrong, and I'm living proof of it. But, I always trained for health reasons, and there's a lot of psychological reasons as well. I think what's different about combat sports is the skill level. And every time I train, I'm sure you experience this with jiu-jitsu. Every time I train with Ryan, we'll train a skill, and he'll teach me, and I'll get it, and then I'll say, now then I would do this to you. And I'll be like, damn, I thought I had this nailed, and some guy is just going to know how to reverse it right away. Then we have to train that. And it's just amazing to me. And sometimes it'll be, okay, now if when we're doing that, instead of doing that, you just put your fist down on the mat, see how I can't move. I'm like, who would have ever thought of this? So as counterintuitive as it is, I think that combat sports, because it is so highly skilled, is great for your brain as you age.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you're learning new things constantly and surprising things.
Yeah.
And I think it's really helped keep me young and sharp in the last 6 years as I've gotten older.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I agree.
So huge benefits.
So good for the brain. Not only to stay sharp, but to stay healthy. My mental health suffers the most if I miss time away from the gym.
Absolutely.
Like all these little things that business owners deal with on day-to-day basis. If I don't make it to the gym over the course of a few days, a few weeks, heaven forbid, if I have an injury, that text message, it's like, oh, I got to get to the gym, man.
Yeah, it's a different stress level. And, we were talking about this a little bit before we got started here, but it is easy to get wrapped up in the negative, I think, as you get older. Yeah. Because you worry about things more, you have more responsibility, you've gone through all kinds of stuff, you're wondering about the future, and this is like one of the best strategies to stay positive. Anytime you're learning something new, the camaraderie, as you said, you're interacting with other people, keeps you positive. Yeah. And I agree, it's so important. There's so many benefits.
Well, and I don't want to be like that vegetarian, vegetarian, you got to do this, because fighting may not be for you. Combat sports may not be your thing. But whatever it is, if it's pickleball, if it's crochet, I don't know, writing stories, poetry, whatever, something obscure, if that's what makes you happy and keeps your mind sharp and helps you become the most ultimate version of yourself, to put that version out into the world, to make this place that we're all so briefly here for just a little bit better and brighter, then do that. Right. And do it now, man, And
it's proven not just by experience, but there is really good science that shows the brain is like a muscle. The more we exercise it, the stronger and sharper it gets. And I think this is why a lot of people, when they retire and all they do is just indulge in watching TV and going out to dinner and maybe vacations, which are all great, and you deserve to enjoy yourself after you've worked your whole life. But if you really want to enjoy yourself and keep enjoying your life, you need to keep challenging your brain.
Yes.
And that's why I think a lot of people have cognitive decline as they get older, because they just stop challenging their brain. So keep doing these things, not only because it's fun and good for you, but because it's going to keep you sharp and prevent you from declining.
Yeah, that's funny. As humans, it seems like we work to acquire all these things to make our life easier and become softer humans. And as we do that, we become weaker and more unhappy.
Maybe it's more of a curse than a blessing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What Marcus Aurelius, what does he say? The obstacle is the way. You know, we need the challenges because that's when we're at our best, is trying to overcome adversity. And it teaches us that we are capable of so much more.
Well, I'm very impressed you're quoting Marcus Aurelius.
Well, you know, I like that Stoic stuff, man. And I probably screwed that quote up pretty bad, but he's got some good shit. The mindset is just, it makes so much sense, you know. I love that stuff. You're like a Stoic person yourself, aren't you?
I guess, you know, it's an area of philosophy I've not studied.
Really?
I probably need to. I've had people recommend Aurelius to me.
Oh man,
times.
you might get all into that. So let's talk about your diet. You're 59, so you first started as vegetarian or vegan?
First vegetarian.
And what year was that?
Around 1989.
89.
I have a very specific trigger for when I went vegan. It was like an evolution. Although I guess there was a trigger for becoming vegetarian as well.
Well, 1989, it wasn't cool to be a vegetarian in 1990. You know, now people wear that.
Were you alive in 1989?
I was 10. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes, I was alive. I was 10 years old. I'm a 70s child, 1979.
All right.
Okay, so you turned vegetarian. Why?
You know, I was in my early to mid-20s, and I had high cholesterol reading on my just regular blood test, and it runs in my family.
Okay.
My dad had high cholesterol. My brother, who's 2 years older than me, I think was already on, I think Lipitor was the first statin drug to bring down cholesterol. I think already in his 20s he was on it, or it had been recommended to him. And I was just like, I do not want to have to go on a pill when I'm in my 20s. So I started researching diet and cutting down on meat, and especially cutting down on saturated fat, which is the main trigger. You know, back then people thought, oh, avoid cholesterol. But actually, dietary cholesterol you eat, most of it is not metabolized. It's the saturated fat that causes your body to produce cholesterol. Started cutting down saturated fat. The main source is meat. So it was not like an anti-meat thing. I was meat eater, not, you know, I didn't love meat more than vegetables, but I didn't love vegetables more than meat. But just as I started researching the science, it was, you want to cut out saturated fat, you want to cut out meat. Eventually, I started recognizing that there are a lot of other health benefits to not eating meat. It's, first of all, I just found from working out and an athletic performance standpoint, not having all this meat slowly going through my digestive tract, I just felt I had a lot more energy. But in terms of all kinds of benefits, lower cancer rates, having more fiber in your diet, so less colorectal cancer, other things around kidneys and so forth. Anyway, there's a lot of health benefits to it. Eventually, I got into the kind of more of the ethical things, but that was not the original reason.
So the first thing that comes to my mind when I think about being like a vegetarian is you go out to restaurants, but you go out to restaurants? No, not at all. You go to restaurants with friends and family?
And I love to, yeah.
So let's say, do you go to Vintner Grill?
We love Vintner Grill.
Okay, what do you order for dinner at Vintner Grill?
Well, Vintner, fortunately, has one vegan entree.
Oh, really?
Portobello piccata, I think it is, or something like that.
Okay.
And it's quite good. I'm not even a portobello fan. But at some restaurants where they don't have a specific option, you know, sometimes it's putting together sides, but sometimes I just have to be very directive. Because I became a vegan in 1999 after seeing Dr. Neil Barnard, who is the president of Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine.
Okay.
And it's a group that's trying to get the medical establishment to incorporate nutrition and well-being and healthfulness more into Western medicine, and not just diagnosing the problem and prescribing a drug. Because a lot of these diseases we have, you can actually prevent through diet and exercise.
Yeah.
But
did you hear what they're saying like recently over the course of the past few days, that the food you ingest is not linked to obesity? I've been seeing this pop up on my feed on Instagram.
Yeah, there is a lot of stuff. I have not seen
shit's getting cuckoo these days,
but
man.
Yeah, there is a lot of misinformation out there. Whenever I see something like that, I go to sources that I really trust. One is consumerlab.com, which you have to pay like $25 a year, I think, to be a member of. But it tests supplements. So there's a lot of supplements, because they're not regulated, a lot of supplements don't have what's actually on the label. So they just do independent testing. I always buy supplements that they've tested and have approved. But then they'll also summarize what the research is around supplements and around a lot of disease states. And so I'll go to them a lot of times and see what they say. nutritionfacts.org is another great one.
What was the first one that you pay for?
Consumerlab.com.
Consumerlab.com.
It is so worth it.
Okay.
Especially, if we're like working out and taking supplements, you want to know that what's in, and some of them are contaminated too. So you want to make sure that they don't have heavy metals or whatever.
Well, contaminated, apparently you can have supplements that are also on like the banned substance list for fighting. Like Khalil Roundtree just had to turn himself in for tainted supplements, which it's not necessary.
Wouldn't that suck that you think you're following the rules and taking the right thing?
Well, so I actually learned about this Saturday night watching the fights over at my friend Thomas Fender's house, and Khalil's cousin was there, and he said to Tom, "Did you hear what happened to Khalil?" Yeah. He's like, "Yeah, I read it." And I don't know, I'm not putting words in anyone's mouth, but it sounded like, obviously they have sponsors. He was just taking stuff the sponsors sent. So if that were the case, I would be pretty pissed at my sponsors. And
I sure would.
I would like a nice bonus.
No kidding.
For them screwing up my my fight camp, and probably some sort of suspension, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I think he got 3 months. If he had not turned himself in,
would have been longer.
I'm sure it would have been longer.
Gotcha.
Yeah. A lot of people have really thought it was overdoing it for somebody who turned himself in before he was even tested.
Yeah. He's a savage of a man. But I'm sorry to get you off track there. 1999, you go vegan. How long do you go vegan for?
Till now. So
you're still vegan right now?
Hell yeah, man.
So you went vegetarian from 89 to 99, and then you've been vegan?
Yeah, and then I cut out the dairy products.
Son of a gun.
Dairy is really not good for you.
What do you weigh?
155.
Has there been any fluctuation in weight from when you started being vegetarian and then when you were vegan?
Yeah. When I started being, I think just as I've gotten older, I didn't realize at some point when I was really working out and I was doing a lot of weights, I was trying to bulk up, I didn't realize I had put on a bit of fat.
Okay.
So I used to weigh about 175, but I was still fit and I was strong. It was one time my brother and I were changing. He's like, he's a big cyclist.
Okay.
And he's like, you're not going to do very well if you ever try cycling with all that fat around your belly. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? He's like, yeah, you put on some.
How do you put on weight as a vegan?
I was really trying to put on weight because I was lifting weights and all. So I was putting like olive oil in my pasta sauce and
lots of avocados, lots of fats.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and look, you can be an unhealthy vegan. You can eat French fries all day,
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay,
yeah,
I was thinking lettuce and fruits and vegetables.
Right.
And an avocado for a party.
But, so I cut down, but that was, I purposely cut down as I got older and after I moved here to Vegas and I was married and my wife and I are really into working out. And maybe that's why, my performance seems to be better in a lot of stuff. Like I set my personal best 5K time about 3 years ago.
Wow.
And, it's not a great 5K time. It was like 22 and a half minutes.
Okay.
But it was faster than I had done 15, 20 years before.
No kidding.
And I think part of it is because I've kept myself really fit, but part of it is because I'd also cut down some on the weight. But I do find when I'm really working out hard, it can be hard to get enough calories on a vegan diet. So I do eat a lot of nuts and seeds along with, which people are probably like, oh, but they're not bad, man. Almonds
nuts and seeds? I love.
Good.
Love nuts and seeds.
Yeah, and pumpkin seeds are really good for you.
No, I do.
Pumpkin seeds are supposed to be good for like
seeds.
men's health.
Pine nuts, so good.
Yeah, I don't do many pine nuts.
Oh, pine nuts tasty, man. Super tasty.
Good. I'm glad you're not anti.
Okay, so vegan since 1999. Do you consume alcohol?
I do.
Okay.
And I know you've given up alcohol.
No, I haven't given it up. I'm just
on a break.
I'm on a little break.
Right.
Yeah. I'm 83 days.
Right? No, good for you.
I'm counting because it's fun.
From a performance standpoint, I think there's no question giving up alcohol is going to help you. And it's the one thing I haven't done. I'm figuring 2 months out from my fight. Hasn't been scheduled yet. Just a few hurdles that my trainer Ryan Couture and I want me to get through. But hopefully by the end of the year, do my one amateur fight, retire undefeated at 1-0. Although if my wife will let me do a second fight, maybe. But I'll probably cut out the alcohol for them. But man,
what do you drink? What do you drink?
Wine.
Okay.
Yeah. My wife and I love having a bottle of wine at night. And,
White or red?
Red.
Okay.
We're really wine snobs.
Ooh.
I have a Bordeaux collection.
Oh.
That I keep in storage elsewhere, so my wife can't open any of those bottles. Oh God, I hope she's not.
Blame it on her.
That's right. And that's why
awesome.
It's all quality
That's awesome.
controlled. But,
How much do you have invested in this collection?
ooh,
Ooh,
should I say like 60,000?
really?
About.
That's
But
impressive.
I am considering it an investment. It's
Of
not that I'm
course.
super rich, man. It's like instead of putting in the stock market, and actually it was not performing as well as the stock market. And then when the stock market went down during COVID, the wine kept going up. But now it's been going down because the Chinese have stopped buying Bordeaux.
Oh, really?
So now it's not looking as good. But, things go in waves.
Okay. Well,
It's a diversification
there
strategy.
you go,
That's
man.
why I did it.
That sounds like a nice little collection.
Yeah, no, it's
I'm
fun.
impressed.
Well,
Do you smoke cigars?
I don't.
I enjoy a cigar now and then. My son hates that I do that. Anytime I do that, he's like, Dad, stop smoking.
Yeah,
Let me
well,
relax, son.
if
Love
you
that
do
kid.
that every once in a
Yeah.
while. I mean, obviously, if you're doing cigars all the time, you're really at risk for like mouth and gum cancer. But
Sure.
if you're doing every once in a while,
Yeah.
I think you're fine
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah.
I've done them, but it's been a while. Maybe one of these days I'll join you
Maybe,
for one.
maybe.
Well,
When
you're
I'm back on the booze.
When you're exactly, I was going to say when you're back to drinking wine, we'll either do a glass of wine and a cigar, or a glass of bourbon.
We can go over to La Casa in Tivoli
right,
Village.
right.
You ever been there?
I haven't. I've walked
It's
by and smelled
fun.
it.
On, yeah, you can smell it from a mile away. And on the weekends, they have like that guy out there with his piano playing music. It's fun.
Are you into when you are drinking?
Yeah.
Are you into a good bourbon?
I'm more of a beer drinker. Yeah. I mean, if I do booze, it's usually like a margarita. I love margaritas. My leg is up right now because that gentleman, Jeffrey Leader, who is on episode 1 of the Midlife, we trained this morning.
Oh,
And now he's real comfortable with me since the podcast. And we were scrapping really hard. I might have submitted him.
all right.
He might have
man.
wanted to turn it up a little bit more because I'm like, I win. He's like, no, dude, we got 2 more minutes left. He comes at me like a bat out of hell. And I was playing guard and he did something with my leg and he threw it and we both heard a pop. He's like, whoa, you
Ooh,
okay?
ooh, ooh.
I'm like, feels fine. Go ahead. He's like, rah. He jumped on me and it was fine, but I'm starting to feel it now. So
Ooh,
but I should be fine.
hopefully it's just sore and not
Yeah,
something.
it's not the first time I've heard something pop down there, but it'll be fine. But I'm
Good.
definitely, this feels good stretching it out this way than leaving it down.
Good. You just noticed that it caught my eye. But hey, a good craft beer is awesome, by the way.
Well,
I'm
don't
with
laugh.
you.
Don't laugh at me. Don't laugh at me. I'm a light beer guy.
Oh, yeah.
My wife loves the IPAs and the craft beers.
Right.
I mean, they're fun to have like one, but I like, like
You're
a
a
Coors Light.
dude.
I like a Coors Light,
Good, good.
Mick Ultra, just sipping beer.
No, it's
My
cool.
wife loves those.
No judgment here.
So we'll go out, right? When we go out, I'll get like a Coors Light or a Mick Ultra. She'll order like, what's the Atomic Duck or whatever
yeah,
the cool IPA is. We'll tell them the
y'all-
order.
I'll be hanging with your wife,
Regar-
ordering those cool ones.
regardless, they always come out, put the IPA in front of me and the light beer in front of her.
Right,
And then we
right.
have
Of
to
course.
switch it.
Of course.
So messed up. But yeah, so beer, I'm a beer guy. I'll be boozing it up when we go to our summer vacation here.
But listen, nothing but respect for you for, again, trying to optimize your working out and your performance.
Yeah.
And, it's the other thing I think that shows is I think we as a society right now are just into indulging ourselves. It's like, hey, you want something, you do it. But that's not necessarily where happiness comes from. Making a sacrifice and not indulging in order to achieve a goal,
Yeah.
that's happiness and satisfaction.
Sure.
And that's so much deeper than just, ooh, I want it, I'm going to have it right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So total respect for
I
you for
appreciate that. And really, I just felt for me to recover and be able to train at the level I want to train at, it was too much. Like, there's no way I can keep up with Jeff if I was drinking beers.
Cool.
But right now, I'm keeping up with that dude. That dude is a savage, man.
Now we got to see if you can keep up with the Ancient Assassin for a couple rounds. man.
So I was talking with Scott, the Ancient Assassin, and I was saying, this may be a little boring for some people, or some people may really enjoy these conversations like I do. But maybe to spice it up a little, perhaps we meet in a gym where we have conversations with whoever the guest is on the show, and we do a little workout where we're talking and learning about each other. And then at the end of the show, we do like 3 2-minute rounds in the cage, and we fight each other.
Only 2-minute rounds?
Yeah, only 2
Come
minutes.
on, man.
Only 2. Well, we don't want to get too crazy. But what do you guys think? Comment down below. Let me know what you think. And if you found any value so far, please be sure to like, subscribe, and chime in. If there's something you'd like to talk about, we'd love to discuss that with you. Scott, what's next on the agenda? What else should we talk about today? So you're an entrepreneur.
I am.
You're an entrepreneur. How long have you been self-employed?
Since 2001.
So for 23 plus years.
Thank you for doing the math for me.
Yeah.
That also makes me feel
You
old.
have been self-employed. And what area of business do you work in, if you don't mind?
So the one that I've had since 2001 is a market research firm. So we work with technology companies, Intel, Intuit, GoDaddy, doing market research, interviewing their customers, doing online surveys to understand a lot of times, what their problems are, what issues are, to help them develop growth strategies. Usually there's a specific thing they want to learn from their customers. Also work with pharmaceutical companies. With them, it's mainly marketing to physicians. So understanding what are the drivers of why a doctor prescribes one drug or another. We never encourage doctors to prescribe something that's not good for the patient, but working on marketing with, whatever, Amgen, Merck. But one of my clients was LegalZoom.
Okay.
And when I was at LegalZoom, me and the chief marketing officer recognized, or when I was working with LegalZoom, we recognized that the divorce market was a real problem. LegalZoom tried to do an online divorce documentation thing, but the problem in divorce isn't doing the documentation. It's getting two people, under really, really trying circumstances to reach an agreement, to overcome their differences and reach an agreement. And we really thought if we could find a way to do that without lawyers, because once you bring the lawyers in, it's just like the sides are fighting over everything.
Oh.
So if we could find a way to use technology to help people work out an agreement, instead of bringing in the lawyers, we could really disrupt that market and really do something good for families. There was this study, and not to go off on this, but there was a study by Ohio State University that found that families who go through a divorce lose 77% of their wealth. And this was a major study. There were 10,000 families. They matched ones that went through divorce and that didn't. Over 10 years, the ones that had gone through divorce had 77% less wealth. So it is emotionally destructive, but it's also destructive to the long-term financial well-being of families. So we've invested a lot of time and money. We've developed an AI capability to help two people in a divorce work out their differences without lawyers involved. And we're on the market in California. Once we've kind of worked out our whole business model there, hopefully we're going national. It's Bliss Divorce. www.blissdivorce.com.
Blissdivorce.com. That's a good name.
Yeah, I have to admit, I was not that bought in on the name at first.
Yeah.
One of my co-founders came up with it, but we tested it in the market and against 5 other names, and that's the one that rose to the top.
Yeah.
You think it's okay?
I like it.
Okay.
I like it.
It definitely stands out.
I like it. I was thinking about a conversation I was having with my friend last night at Summerlin Sounds. Have you ever been to that?
No.
So, like for 5 or 6 weeks of summer at downtown Summerlin on Wednesday nights, 5:30 p.m.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. I just didn't know the name.
Yeah, they set up the stage and they have bands come and play music. It's really good. We don't get there till about 7:30 when the sun's going down. Otherwise, you're just getting beat by that sun.
I'll have to meet you over there sometime.
Oh, absolutely. Anyone.
You bring the kids or just
bring
you
the
and
kids?
wife?
Yeah,
Cool.
bring the kids. Ran into a couple people last night, but we were talking about, and this is way off topic, but I'm gonna go say it anyways because I thought it was funny. We were talking about these, like David Goggins, do hard things and all that stuff. And he's like, yeah, and I don't know how true this is. He's like, but that guy was married like 4 times.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, he's a quitter. He's like, I've been married 20 years. That's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
What are you saying? Stay hard.
Right.
Stay married.
Right.
That's hard. It was funny.
Well, and Bliss Divorce absolutely does not promote getting divorced.
Sure.
Just making it easy when it comes. But heck, I've been married now for, I get this right, 13 years. We'll be 13 years in September.
Congratulations.
So, and you said, how long?
It'll be 21 years,
Good for
September
you, man.
6th.
I waited till I was old to get married. But
I
good for
think,
you. I have complete respect.
my wife and I were talking about that because we have a 14-year-old. She's going into high school, and before you know it, she'll probably be wanting to get married, because 10 years from her age now, that was the age we were when we got married.
Right.
And I don't know. I think we'd probably wait till we were older, more secure by ourselves.
Right.
Because it seems like a lot of people, including ourselves, you get married to kind of have a partner in life.
Mm-hmm.
And then, why?
But it's hard to do when you don't know yourself yet.
Sure.
So you choose this partner, and the problem is both of you are going to still grow and change a lot. And if you go in different directions, I think that's one of the reasons that people do end up getting divorced.
Exactly.
So I agree, but good for you guys that you, hopefully, it sounds like you were able to kind of grow in the same direction and things have gotten stronger.
We work on it every day, but
Yeah.
she is a beautiful woman.
She's
a freak in the sack. Just kidding. Love you, babe. You have any kids?
I have one stepson.
Okay.
Who I'm very close to.
Okay.
Kai, he's 23.
23.
Also in real estate,
Right.
like you.
Yeah, you were telling me that.
Actually, it's hilarious. He gets out of UNR, University of Nevada, Reno, comes home, doesn't know what to do with himself. Frankly, he needed to get his act together. Sorry, Kai, if you're watching this. And but I'll give him credit. You know what he said? I want to give real estate a try. So he got his real estate. He studied at home, got his real estate license, started working for a friend of ours, Anthony Knight, and he started networking with our friends.
Hey.
And, you know, here's this 23-year-old kid, and he now specializes in selling luxury condos.
That's awesome.
His first deal was a luxury condo to a friend of ours, and he's like, wow, they can make a lot of money on Airbnbs here. So he started managing the Airbnbs. This condo, the first one that he sold, the guy was taking 25%. He took 15% as the management fee and increased the rentals by 50%.
Wow.
And like, so now he's sold all these and he's building his network, and that's his niche. And I'm like, good for him for finding a niche for himself, even if it was taking advantage of my network of friends. And then also seeing the opportunity, being very entrepreneurial and saying, oh, I'm not only going to sell these things, but I can manage them. And I can do better than these people that are charging so much money.
And he's 23 years old.
23, yeah.
On my other podcast I do with my real estate partner, Joey Andron, it's called the House Always Wins podcast. We had a 23-year-old female real estate investor on from Canada.
Oh, wow.
Just on Monday. I haven't edited that podcast yet, but it was
real estate investor.
Real estate investor.
Oh, we should connect her and Kai.
There you go.
He works with investors. It'd be cool to get some youngsters together.
Yeah, I know. 23, so young.
Isn't that something?
Does he enjoy it?
Yeah, I think he's having the time of his life.
Okay.
He's not used to the level of stress of being responsible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I think college these days is an extended adolescence.
Okay.
And, you know, I mean, there's some people that go there unresponsible. Kai wasn't one of them necessarily. Oh, my God, he's going to be so pissed off at me.
He understands.
But
tough love. Tough love's good love.
He did okay there, but, you know, where he really came into his own is when he committed himself to this. But I think he's learning that, you know, life is a different level of stress when you have to pay your own rent, when you have to make sure that you're growing your business, and when you have a problem, you have to solve it. And I love being there for him. You know, he'll call me up and say, oh, man, this guy, blah, 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 blah. What do you think I should do? And I'll be like, well, what do you think you should do? And help him work through it. But he is doing phenomenally well, and it's great. I knew he had the entrepreneurial spirit in him because when he was in high school, 2 years in a row, and I can't remember what the business club is called, he won the national award for best business plan.
Really?
So, like, I knew he had it in him, and once he got out on his own, man, he's kicking
That is
butt.
awesome.
Yeah.
2 years in a row, national award.
He did. He got to complete in the international one. Came in the top 10, I think.
Did he go to Palo Verde?
Yes.
Okay. Very cool. 23 years old, killing it out there in the real estate game. That's awesome. And your wife is younger than you?
Just by a little bit, like 14 years.
14 years, okay.
Belly Andaluz.
Okay.
She's also entrepreneurial. You know, I met her when I was in Guatemala for a wedding.
Really?
I went down there. I was probably 41 at the time. Bachelor, you know, a dedicated bachelor. And I went there. A good friend of mine, woman, was getting married. The guy she was marrying, his parents were from there, so they thought they'd have a destination wedding. It's a very romantic, small city called Antigua, Guatemala.
Okay.
And a UNESCO World Heritage Site, has cobblestone streets, washed buildings of all different colors.
Sounds beautiful.
It's gorgeous. It's a great place to visit. And when I went down there, she was having her hair done. The groom said, hey, go see Lisa. She'd love to see you. And there was this beautiful Guatemalan woman doing her hair, doing my friend Lisa's hair. And she ended up being my date to the wedding.
No kidding.
But she's the one who owned the salon where Lisa's hair was being done. She also owned the spa where they had all their spa treatments and cafe in Guatemala. So she was quite the entrepreneur in town. She was like the big woman around town.
That's awesome.
So she ended up being my date to the wedding, and I was there for 3 days, and we just hung out the whole time. And eventually, it still took me a while as a bachelor to commit to a woman in another country. She found her way to Vegas, where her sister lived, and I was living in New York City, and finally I had no excuse. So we finally committed to each other, and I moved here to Vegas, and the rest is history.
And that was 13 years ago. Well, the marriage.
Yeah. I moved to Vegas 15 years ago.
Okay. Beautiful. But is she still an entrepreneur today?
Yeah, she opened the hair salon here.
Oh, really?
It was very successful, very high end, and sold that about 2 years ago.
Okay.
And is dabbling a bit in real estate.
Yeah.
She's kind of deciding where she wants to focus. She actually has more than 81,000 followers on Instagram.
Oh, really? Oh, I want to look her up. Let's look her up real quick.
Yeah, Belly Andaluz,
How?
LV Realtor. But very few of her posts are about her real estate.
How
it's
do
much
you
more about her fashion.
How do you spell her name?
BELI AND.
Oh, popped right up. 80. How does she have? What does she do
No
to get
kidding.
80,000?
And she,
I'm following her.
We're not doing anything with it. I keep telling her she could be an influencer. Some chance maybe you can give her a
I don't
few
know. She can
tips
give
and-
me some pointers. I'm only at like 1,300 followers.
Dude, for my Ancient Assassin one, I've got like 438. I got to build that. My problem is I don't have time to post very often.
Interesting. That's cool, man. That's super awesome.
Well, we really have, of course I have to say this but it's really true. We really have such a great life together. I mean, it's one of those marriages where we just really enjoy spending time together, and we really respect and trust each other doing things on our own. Like, she goes out with her girlfriends and they go to the nightclubs and everything. I'm not into all that. She tries to get me somewhere. But, I want her to go out and have fun. But then she comes home, and we love spending time together at home. We love going out together. So it's really a great romance and a great relationship.
So what's the secret to a successful marriage?
Wow. We're getting serious here.
Just real quick question.
No. I think it's a few things. One is total honesty, which is really tough.
Yeah.
It's total honesty with each other, being willing to take the risk if you fucked something up that you tell her or she tells you. And I think the other thing is you got to kind of work at the romance thing, because it's like in the beginning you don't have to work at it, but then as you're together for longer, you just got to work at making sure there's still the spark there, because that's part of it. Part of it is the trust and the relationship and the being there for each other. But, that's a deep friendship. What makes it then, something bigger than that is there's also the spark. And sometimes you got to keep working on that spark and letting each other know that it's special. And I think one of the problems I see in marriages sometimes is, and I hope this doesn't come across as sexist, but a lot of times it's the guy that has to take the onus for keeping that spark. And I think both sides really need to do it. It's, the whole happy wife, happy life thing. That's true. But, women need to also take responsibility for keeping the spark going with the husband as well. And it needs to not just be one way.
I agree. It takes work from both sides in any transaction to get the deal done.
And, you hate to think about marriage as a transaction, but it is.
Yeah.
Like anything else in life, it literally is a contract.
Well, honestly, I run my businesses very well. And if I started doing this and it helped around the house, kind of running my household like a business, because you need organization and you need to have processes and systems and things put into place so everyone works together.
Dang, man, I could probably take advice from you on
this. Dude,
one.
It worked. Yeah. But on top of that, you got to show a lot of love too.
Yeah.
So that's the key. That's helping me right now.
Yeah, I think we should also talk about Midlife Fight Club a little bit.
Do it, man. Yeah, Midlife Fight Club.
Because I really think we were talking in the beginning about the benefits of, I think, what's unique to combat sports. And, you said there's other things too, and you should follow your passion and what you enjoy. But I think the combination of, really, the fitness is the level of fitness that I get from combat sports, I think, is just a step above everything else. And then people have no idea the skill level. You know, whether it's jiu-jitsu that I know you've been focusing a lot on, but even striking and kickboxing and wrestling. I mean, there are so many different aspects to mixed martial arts or just combat sports in general that there's always something new to learn.
Yeah.
It's like the ideal thing for keeping yourself healthy and sharp. And I think the other thing that it fulfills, why I love your idea about Midlife Fight Club, I motion over there because there's another laptop with it over here, is that, you know, we talk about midlife crisis and in the negative, but I think it's a positive because what it basically says is, hey, we've gotten in a routine. And whenever you get into a routine, you can get into a rut. And it's good to have change.
Yeah.
If you just keep going with the same thing, sorry, what is your slogan? If you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's one of them.
It's so true. And that's what a midlife crisis is about. It's about, hey, you need to have some change. You need to grow. It's a good thing. And I think this is a great vehicle for men, and heck, could be for women too.
I think so as well.
You know, it's a great vehicle to address that midlife crisis. If this is the right thing for you, address that midlife crisis in a positive way.
Sure.
So I love this idea.
Yeah, I do too. You know, and like I said earlier, before the cameras were rolling, I enjoy having conversations really with people who motivate and inspire me, like yourself. And I just know there's a lot of people out there who are maybe in this space to where they're just a little confused because you may look like you have everything figured out. You're at whatever age it may be. It could be 35, 45, 55, 65, but maybe there's something in your life that just is off, not to what society thinks is right, but to how you feel.
Right.
And there's someone else going through it, and maybe some of these conversations will click with someone, and it'll motivate someone to just work on fixing that part of themselves so they can be a little bit happier. And like I said, so they can put their best version out into the world and make this place a little bit brighter. Because I think we need more of that, because it seems to just be getting darker and darker every day.
Yeah, yeah.
Or at least that's what they're pushing on us.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, if you get out there in person and you start meeting people, I don't really see that. I don't see it that much. But if you look only at these things or these big screens behind me and you watch what they're saying, it seems like that's all they're pushing.
And this can be a counterbalance for that, because you're going to be pushing positive things.
Yeah.
And you're right. There is too much negativity out there.
Yeah.
And I think it is driven a lot by it's not the technology. It's the way we're using the technology.
It's the technology. Well, it's the way it's being used. It's the way it's being moderated.
Yeah.
Right? You know, how they're showing people things. They've already said it. We know to show this person that because it's going to strike up this conversation to get more eyeballs on it and spend more time on our app. Show more ads, make more money.
Here's the scarier thing than that is, it's not anybody that intended to do that. It's algorithms that they created that figured out that was the best way to maximize revenue. And the unintended consequence is it's all dark stuff.
All dark stuff.
So, so I think it'll take intentionality to offset that.
That's right, man. So,
Fight Club. But I have a question for you about
Go ahead.
How old do you need to get before you're no longer in midlife and you're kicked out of the club?
Well, so if you Google
I'm kind of getting there.
You're getting there. But if you Google it, it ranges. I'm going to say 40 to 60.
Oh, damn.
But we could say 45 to 65.
So that means I just have a year and a half to go.
I mean, after midlife is end of life? I don't know.
Yeah, but once
so stay in midlife as long as you can.
Yeah, exactly. Once you're in there, can you continue to be an honorary member, man?
Well, here's the thing, man. If you age out, you can still give us in midlife advice, and those who are coming up into midlife.
I think it's also a way to extend midlife, because you're keeping people healthier of the body and mind.
Yeah, man.
So you just like they keep saying 50 is the new 40. Well, 70 will be the new 60. But by the way, I also just want to call you out on one thing from your first podcast.
Okay.
I can't remember now what exactly it was. You said something around, I think you were talking about when you were a kid, or you were talking about working out, and you're like, yeah, even really old people can do this, like 60 years old. I'm like, really old? Damn it, man. I'm there in like 6 months.
I said that?
You did.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry I said that. That is wrong.
I might have to go pretty hard against you when we get in the cage, man, for those
maybe that's why I did
2-minute
it.
rounds.
Maybe that's why I did it, make him mad. But so every Tuesday and Thursday now for over a year, myself and Uncle Chris, he just turned 62.
Right.
We train boxing at his house.
Oh, nice.
And we'll do like 2 rounds each on the focus mitts, and then we do body only sparring.
Oh,
and because it's body only, like the pace is crazy because there's no fear of getting punched in the face.
Right.
So it's just constant. And it's helped with my conditioning tremendously. And he's 62, and he always says,
you want to talk about camaraderie.
Yeah.
Like connecting with someone you love. I mean, there's something weird about it, but when you're like hitting someone, like you almost, maybe if it's like a real bout and you're trying to win, there'd be some anger. But when you're just doing it with someone, like the guy I spar with, one of my, sparring, or one of my training things is in the park near where I live. And we put on the gloves, and on basketball court we spar. And I've been sparring with this dude, Fresh, who is like 2 inches, 3 inches taller than me, 30 pounds heavier than me, 30 years younger. And he takes good care of me, because if he really clocked me, he could knock me out. But like, I feel really close to him.
Sure.
Like when you share that kind of thing, where you're both trying to clock the other guy, but also take care of him.
Yeah.
It does create this sense of camaraderie.
Yeah, you definitely build a bond.
Yeah.
Once you fight someone.
Yeah.
It's happened a lot of times.
Does.
You see it even when younger. I don't know if you're ever in a schoolyard fight. You took my girl. Boop, boop.
Not since 6th grade against Tom Agnew.
That bastard. How's Tom doing?
I kicked his ass, too.
Did you? Yeah. I was in 2 fights when I was 13. Same kid, 2 times.
Oh, damn.
Didn't want to fight him the second time. Didn't even put my hands up. He still punched me.
And what happened?
Some guy broke it up.
Okay.
But I beat him the first time. Beat him up the first time. I was like, dude, I don't want to fight you again. I don't like fighting.
No.
I don't like fighting. And I don't even really look at it as fighting anymore these days. I remember when I came home from 8th grade, my dad opened up the door. He's like, oh, man, get in here. You got to see this. I'm 13 years old. So this is 1990, 3-ish?
Oh, was it like the first UFC?
There's this tall, skinny dude in a karate suit beating up all these badasses. What? So I go in there. He puts it on. Hoist Gracie's tapping everyone out. And I'm like.
Well, how about the first bout where the karate guy kicked the sumo wrestler in the mouth and knocked his tooth out?
Knocked his tooth out. Yeah, that was awesome.
What a great way to open UFC.
When I was a kid, I saw that. I was like, I don't like it. And I went to my room. Didn't want to watch it. I don't like violence.
Right.
Now you fast forward, 30-some years, and I'm a Gracie black belt.
Right. Good for you, man.
But when you learn it, you kind of almost forget how violent it can be.
Right.
We use it as a game, as a sport in the gym on a daily basis. But
it's explicitly about not hurting the person you're training with.
Right.
So it's also about control. But you do forget that.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
That's why I've gotten into striking now, because jiu-jitsu is like the most passive-aggressive martial art there's got to be, right? Because everyone's like, oh, the gentle art.
Yeah.
Tap.
Let me just get you into this tap or I'll break your arm.
Yeah. You're so strong. Oh, we're all happy. When really it's like, oh, I just murdered you. That's why I like the striking. It's like, I'm in your face.
Right.
I'm getting punched. You're getting punched. Like, we're here to do business. So that's the new me. In your face.
Right.
In your face.
Were you a dancer at all, by the way?
A dancer? No, I cannot dance.
Because I've seen your footwork. It looks really good.
Well,
I'm not very good with footwork.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I'm not good at, but I just, you know what I'm good at?
Cutting those corners and throwing that.
Well, that's my highlight reel. If you watch all the footage,
that's right.
These reels you guys have been seeing, if you've been following me on Instagram, it takes hours and hours of footage for me to put together 3 7-second clips that make me look good.
I've got a story on this one. Yeah, so everybody knows my training on Sundays is at Xtreme Couture. I mean, it's real MMA training from a pro. On Saturdays, I go to this park in the gym, and actually it's this little Filipino guy, Noel, 63 years old, in incredible shape. Actually, in a street fight, he would destroy Ryan Couture, my MMA trainer, because he knows all the dirty stuff, because he grew up as a street fighter in the Philippines. And then he trained in formal boxing and kickboxing and Muay Thai. But so he trains us, and it was mainly for exercise, but then he got us starting to spar. And so just this past Saturday, there was like this 23-year-old dude, big guy, very athletic looking, and we're going to spar. And he comes up to me, he goes, I've seen your videos. He's like, take it easy on me, okay? And this dude's huge. I'm like, don't worry, son. He's like 23. I'm 50 now. I'm like, don't worry, son. I won't hurt you. And that's exactly what I said to him. I'm like, by the way, those videos that you saw, I'm the editor. So, you know, it would be me against this big guy fresh, and I would edit the 30 seconds out of 5 minutes that I actually got strikes in on him. But it was hilarious. And because he was scared, I actually took it to him.
Yeah.
I loved that. But,
yeah, I just recently got over the fear of being punched in the face.
It's such a strange thing.
But
Same
once
with me.
you get over that, dude,
Right.
it opens up this.
You realize it doesn't hurt that much.
It doesn't. You can take a lot more than you think.
Right.
And I'm like a little kid with a shiny new toy, man, just trying to get in there and
Right.
scrap now because I know I can get punched in the face.
Right. I'm going to actually, I just found this. I'm going to put a video on my Instagram of the first time that when I was sparring with Ryan, that he actually really clocked me. He did this overhand right above my guard. I didn't expect to come in at all. And he hit me really hard, and he did it to test me. And it's hilarious because the way I reacted was I go, whoa, you know, which of course you're not supposed to do. And he's like, you all right? Are you all right? I'm like, yeah, that's not too bad. Come on. And we went back at it. Now I know not to go, whoa, but it's like that first time, it's such a shock. And then it dawns on you. You're like, I can take that.
Yeah. Even, like I said, I recently just got over this within the past few months. And some days when I haven't sparred in a few days, I'll get in there in the first couple of
you're
But then after 2 rounds,
Right.
I'm like, you know,
Right.
charging headfirst into it like a fool. Well, someone's vacuuming out in the hallway now, so we're going to cut this short. Plus, I only have the studio rented for another 2 minutes till 3 p.m. So, Scott, thank you so much.
Awesome, man. Great time.
Dude, thank you
Love
for
what
coming
you're doing
in.
here.
Yeah, man.
You have my 100% support, and I do challenge you to come meet me in the cage sometime.
I accept,
youngster.
I accept this
All right,
challenge.
we're doing it.
Stay tuned for the fight. Looks like they're trying to get us out here or something. So I'm Chance Vanek. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you at the top. Peace.